All right. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back. Today, we've got another Serral point of view commentary. That's right, we are commentating from the point of view, first-person view stream of Serral over here, twitch.tv/Serral, the greatest StarCraft 2 player of all time. And I wanted to watch this game because this is a Zerg versus Terran, where we've been told he makes good use of Microbial Shroud. And the reason why I specifically want to watch that as his opponent drops an early pause is I think Serral has a skill which everybody needs to learn from, but myself especially, which is the best engagement discipline out of anyone in the world. And I think with Microbial Shroud getting its cast range buffed recently, but even before this patch where it got that cast range, he was already using it really well. But we're also seeing Terran is getting to Ghosts a bit later in the late game Turtle, where Microbial isn't as useful. They're getting there a lot later. And there's an even bigger window right now for Serral to jump in with Microbial Shrouds, take engagements, and then just pull out. And most of us, when we play Zerg versus Terran, it's about diving and overwhelming, breaking the front line and flowing over and getting into all the cracks afterwards. But Serral, his engagements are like he just does like a sharp, disciplined punch, and then he pulls his hand back. He never overextends. He tries to never go like beyond the Microbial Shrouds. And he's like, okay, the Microbial Shroud's out. I've broken your front line. I took a good trade. Now let's pull back. And it's so opposite to the way I think about Zerg is if you think of like warfare and there's battle lines drawn, you'll often expend a massive amount of resources and you'll build up your army and you'll try to break their front line, because if you can break through, you create a big salient in their line, a big break. You can eventually push through, and if you burst through, your opponent's not organized anymore, and suddenly you're getting on their supply lines, you're cutting off, you're surrounding, you're enveloping and encircling different units that are exposed on the flanks and things like this, and you can actually kind of break through, and you start, obviously, with a big inefficient cost, where you storm the beaches, you storm the wall of defenses or whatever it is, whether we're thinking of like a Normandy landing or anything like that in World War II, and once you break through, though, suddenly you get wildly efficient. Once you get into you break up your opponent's organization if you can get through. And normally with Zerg, that's what I'm doing. Breaking the planetary and the front tank's really expensive, but then I'm on your production and there's lings in all your bases and I'm rolling banelings in from all sides. And this is like fantastic. And the efficiency follows up after an initial inefficient engagement. Serral is a very special case in that he doesn't fight like that. He looks for efficiency from the very start and doesn't really vary it from there. So
Reaper, maybe?
It's just fascinating to watch. And oh my, he's playing against 2-Rax Reaper. I've heard contrary opinions on this.
Warren.
Oh, he's going to make a Roach Warren to deal with it, because it could be 3-Rax. And because he doesn't have ling, he can't get ling speed in time. And he's gone pool first. Oh, because he's gone pool first. Doesn't have ling speed started. He knows he can't really defend the 2-Rax Reaper, so he's like, I'll just get a few roaches to defend. And then the Terran has to be really careful.
Ravager. How many Ravagers? I guess you need 4 to one-shot a Reaper.
Oh, he wants to get 4 Ravagers to one-shot a Reaper. That's cute. Yeah, 4 times 16
so bad against.
Is going to do over 60 damage. It's going to do 64,
he dives in.
Right?
I had never seen that.
You've never seen a guy run his Reaper past the Queen? Serral's so offended
like
that the guy just sacrificed a few hit points that are instantly going to regenerate. I love Serral. Serral's so funny. He's like, this play is slightly suboptimal. What can I say? Now, this is a 62, almost 6,300 Terran. Could be beyond. Oh, thank you so much, Sarge. This is how much a Big Mac used to cost when you first started streaming SC2. Thank you. What's it doubled in that time? Thank you, Sergeant Duck. It's yeah, that's actually a marker of inflation, guys. Is how much prices have gone up while we've been streaming and commentating StarCraft 2.
I'm gonna lose some drones if he backstabs me, but I don't think it's.
So Serral's purposely leaving no units at home, guys. He says if he backstabs, I'll lose a few drones. I'll sort of fight with queens and drones, not leaving anything but 2 queens at defense, which will beat 3 Reapers, but they won't beat them quickly, so the Reapers could run past and kill a bunch. But he's just droning hard, so he's kind of accepted that greed, and it's that forward thinking. A lot of us, the Reapers run around and go, oh god, his Reapers ran around, I wasn't ready for this. Serral was ready for it. Now that barracks can lift off and kill the Overlord at any moment, but you can see the Terran doesn't want to skip building units. He wants to keep building Marines and Marauders.
Or whatever that is.
Concussive Shells is already in there. Serral's making ling speed in case there's like a counter-attack at some point. He also could turn that into a follow-up all in. Oh! You can see the way he one-shotted that Reaper. This is why he wanted 4 Ravagers, guys. So you can see he's forcing a lot of damage here, getting a lot of value.
Definitely need to be a bit careful here.
He's still on double gas, though. Double gas is, of course, very, very big investment. And he's going to go double upgrades before third hatchery. Because he's got 2 gases, he thinks, oh, that's a good way to take advantage. And he says, I've got to be careful. He doesn't want his Ravagers to get caught. So he's pulling home so they don't get tagged.
The roach thing was so bad. That's why no one does this crap.
Wait. I got to rewind that. What did he say?
Yeah, the roach thing was so bad. That's why no one does this crap.
This roach thing was so bad. That's why no one does this crap.
Out.
And he sees the other guys moving out.
Yeah, like it's kind of crazy to move out, but just like that little threat there is so scary. I'm gonna get like fast upgrades here.
This is very scary with the fast upgrades. Yeah, the thing is, the opponent has bad economy as well. I actually think what Serral means when he says this is bad is his economy's not great. Like his third's delayed, his mineral count's not that good.
He should really kill that OV. I'm not sure if he thinks he got it or what's up, but...
Yeah, the other guy should have killed the Overlord ages ago. Just lift the barracks at any moment. Good call there for Serral. Really but I think there's a weird thing here where like you've got crazy upgrade timing.
It's just very good.
Ravagers can give you insane efficiency. There's a lot you can do here as Serral. And the reactors...
Good that
only now building.
I have to worry about that right now. And you can't really get a scout.
Terran can't really get a scout, he's pointing out. He's saying, this is quite good. Like, I've got the vision. Terran can't get a scout. He's kind of mentally taking note of the advantages that are stacking up for him, even though it's a very weird position. Normally for Serral, having your third mineral line mining...
Out, so now making a bit many links.
And lots of bases as early as possible is the #1 priority. But in this game, he's changed it up. Now, he's making a lot of Zerglings, so if the Terran pushes, he wants to be able to surround him. And he's going to have 1/1 upgrades. I think he would have gone melee carapace, not range upgrades. This style, you just stay with a few Ravagers left over from the early game. You're basically playing a Zergling style, and you probably want to go Infestors up into Ultras afterwards. Like, you're not really planning to build more Roaches and Ravagers here, unless there's a very good reason.
No.
Oh, yeah. So that's huge. Now he knows you do not have a third command center in your main. Otherwise, you would not have come down to build that on location.
This is a nice timing for me because I will actually have my 1/1 done.
Yeah, having 1/1 finished for the Terran timing, this is like...
And I think
Willie. Actually, he might have to give up his 4th base. I think it's worth giving up your 4th here to take a more efficient engagement. I think you've both spent so long building army on a lower than normal economy. The army fight is what matters. So he should be checking his evolution chambers to make sure his upgrades are finished.
I'm like no workers.
I don't think they're done. They're not done?
Kind of.
He's going to go for it.
All out on defending this attack with no losses.
Okay, Lings are going to come in. He's not dropping Biles, oddly enough. I thought he would drop some Biles there, but I think he figured Terran was going to wriggle away from the Biles anyway. And yeah, his infestation pits up. I wonder if his 1/1 was finished in that fight, guys, because I didn't see him click a unit to check. Obviously, it finished during the fight, definitely. But I wonder if he misjudged that or he judged that perfectly. I'm sure there's a lot of fanboys in the comments go, of course he judged it perfectly. Best play in the world. Thing is, I think he just wanted to make sure he got a good trade on the army because he realized he had the numbers for it. So even without the upgrades, he was like, now's the time to surround, kill a bunch of these Marines. I don't want to let him slip away. And that's also a good decision. Just because it doesn't line up perfectly with the upgrades, that's not something he controls as the greatest player of all time. He just has to adapt to the situations he's in. He blocks the command center by a few more...
far ahead in upgrades, so that's really good for me.
Yeah, he saw the other guy doesn't have 1/1 yet, I think. And he said, well, okay, I'm really far ahead in upgrades. If he doesn't have 1/1 yet, my 2/2's like a third of the way complete. Let's go.
I can afford that.
The old discussions come up in the live chat where people are talking about Alpha Star beating Serral. That was at a convention, like, not on his normal setup or mouse and keyboard, guys. You know, it was not an ideal playing environment. It was like at the BlizzCon station where random Blizzard fans could go and play against him. It was not a real test or a great test of
like
a
very
truly
low
competitive setup.
count, but
Alpha Star was very good at StarCraft. If Serral was trying to beat it, it would not be able to win. It would need to play like hundreds of games to take single maps off him, I'm pretty sure, guys. He was purposely, he said he tried not to take advantage of it. He tried to play very standard defensive macro. And he said it played like a 6400 Protoss, which, so he said it kind of played like a top 50, top 30 GM player. He said it played very good. But like with its Protoss, its Terran and Zerg was trash in comparison. I think its Terran and Zerg were like just above 6k, maybe 5.9, but its Protoss got very good. Part of the problems that it had is it because it's a self-learning agent. Even though they give it little carrots to reward it for things, it never understood the value of scouting. And people always say, well, of course it doesn't understand things, Pig. And I'm like, I know, I'm not saying it thinks like humans think. There's a lot of people who are, I don't know, AI cultists. They get really mad if you like explain things about how an AI plays a game as if it's a human. They're like, well, it doesn't understand. I get it. My point is, it never scouted on purpose. With Protoss, it was way better than the other races because it would specifically go and actually actively harass constantly. It would always have adepts or oracles and units poking in and out. Because of that, it would actually see the enemy's plays ahead of time, and it would have time to react to them. With Terran and Zerg, it would do the same style every game, and it wouldn't actively scout. So it was very vulnerable with Zerg to just dying to like a lot of Mutalisks, because it would never scout for the Mutas, and it would just go mass roach with some queens.
I'm gonna respect it.
Sorry guys, I'll stop talking about Alpha Star. I just think it's an interesting tangent that always comes up when we talk about kind of Serral, and people go, oh yeah, he got beaten by the AI, and I'm like, you know, I get it. Like, it's still impressive. It got to a very good level, but it did not get anywhere near the level of the best StarCraft players.
I wonder if
in terms of
it's kind of camped.
In terms of like, if it was having to play a best of series, it would have been absolutely destroyed.
If they ultras a bit hidden, still no reason to show them.
It was an impressive result, but not one that people make it out to be. People make it out like it beat the best StarCraft players and dominated like it did in, you know, like AI did in chess and everything. It's like, no, not really. StarCraft was a much harder thing to conquer. Which makes sense. It's a very, there's many more permutations and possibilities and things, and imperfect information is very hard for self-learning agents to deal with. Alright guys, so 4th base is up for Terran. Now notice Serral, like I said, he's gone...
Wait for 3D. I'm not gonna have Bailings, so that's a bit annoying, but...
He's gone Infestors, he's gone Ultras. He's got... Normally, once you get Infestor, Zergling, Ultra, the next step is Banelings and Corruptors. So he's added the Banelings, he's got the Spire coming up.
Should carry me pretty far.
You guys know I've been praising this composition for about From about 2023 was when I started spamming this comp every game. Glad to see it becoming meta, because it is so good. Here we go. Here's the Microbial engagements. Let's go, Serral. All right. Now look at this. I think he should get out of here. This is a bit of an overextend, isn't it? But because he's got Microbial, he feels like he can keep fighting. That one Ultra on the left, just not dying. And he runs Lings in. Oh my god. On the far left flank, the Lings find the tanks. I think he left a command center on red hit points on the right side, which is unfortunate. He was not really looking at it. But he got a bunch of tanks, killed the planetary. Leaving that one command center on Reddit points was a bit of a bummer. Still an excellent trade for him. And you could just see, if there's no ghosts out, his faith in even 1 or 2 Ultras tanking all the Marines, especially because he's up in upgrades. So those Marines were doing 0.5 damage a shot to the Ultra.
I definitely want to drone up a little bit though.
He could say that. And the moment the Microbial is gone, he's often going to try and pull away. And he's just going to keep looking for these very efficient engagements. I love that he 2-pronged there, because so often Serral will only attack from one side. But you can see he's staying a bit more maneuverable, and I think he wants to hit that right side, knowing there's no planetary here. He wants to hit that with Ling Bane, while his main army distracts in the bottom left side. This is really smart. This is just classic. Hey, if I deny your planetary, there's a certain window before a new planetary can be ready where I can do damage. And it's a very minimal commitment, those Zerglings. That pulls the whole army. I think it would have been better if he actually hit the left first and then ran in with those Lings on the right, but he knew the planetary was going to finish soon, so he had to go. Just great timing knowledge here for Serral. He's going to roll in. Bane's going in towards the army. Nothing going towards the SCVs. I'm a little critical of. One of the libs will get taken out by corrosive biles there, and he runs away. Does actually take out the missile turrets with those shift-click Zerglings, and look at that, guys. He gets a fungal Baneling Ultra turnaround, and that's why Terran has to be very careful about chasing Zerg. Especially if you don't exhaust your whole army. Like, Serral keeps his Infestors alive. He's always got some units guarding them, so his spellcasters don't get chased down by Marauders after he throws his whole army away. And he remakes the Banes, remakes the Zerglings, and goes again. And notice the way he attacks the left. So the first attack, top right, rotates his main army, attacks the left. Now he's rotating back to the right side. And there is this ping-ponging between different angles. One of the most frustrating things I see watching top Zergs is when they attack the same angle repeatedly, so the Terran can set up a perfect defense. Here we go, Microbial Shrouds. Banelings in the front is a little iffy against those tanks. That was a pretty derpy engagement.
Fight when there's no planetary because you don't really have anything to kill.
Yeah.
Like I never want to fight into the army. I want to always...
Yeah, you don't really want to fight into the army unless the army is very exposed or you catch it with fungal, like Serral says. Normally you kill the planetary because it can't lift off, and then you kill some other stuff and then you run away. Kill the planetary while the army runs back, and then you run away. And the Terran has to kind of kite backwards. But if you chase, especially into an arc of tank bio like that with your Banelings at the front, it's especially bad. You want to have some Ultras up front tanking.
He has 3-3 now, so...
Terran has 3-3, so the upgrade advantage is now gone.
See if he can get a good push going in this location.
He's going to take the forward bases while attacking the top right. Notice he's always attacking a new angle.
This base has a planetary, so
his base does have a planetary. He's going to go for it with the Banelings. Notice he control clicks the Banelings up north. The Ultraling Bane Ravager comes forward. The SCVs do run away from those Banelings, and he does let them escape. Clicks them. The Lings are going to come in here. Can he take out 2 siege tanks? Yes, he can. 2 siege tanks go down. Same time, kill the planetary on the right side. And if he can do this continually, are these cost-efficient trades? No, but he's getting double air upgrades. He's still got the same 5 infestors, guys. They've been on this hotkey. He's never had to replace one, just regenerating microbial energy over and over. And he's taken the corner bases, so he's going to Nidus to the corners, so we can transfer drones in and out of those bases as needed, and he's going to start stealing those resources. So you can trade inefficiently here, but you're keeping Terran very low on mining, keeps losing a new base, keeps losing units, planetaries. And if you start stealing these 2 corner bases, these bases that are meant to be on the Terran side of the map, every mineral you mine is a mineral you take away from the Terran. So you're doing active damage. And it says, hey, Terran, if you don't move out of that little defensive 5-base shell,
I'm actually gonna
you're screwed.
Quite pro here. His arm is actually completely weak.
Here we go. Go for the Microbial, clear a few tanks. Goes for a few biles as well. But he really needs Corruptors now. There's so many libs out.
Definitely want to start getting some...
Corruptors? He said we're going to start getting some...
Corruptors pretty soon here.
Corruptors pretty soon, yeah. He's realizing, dude, I should have had Corruptors for these engagements. Corruptors would make these engagements way better.
Brings pretty long games.
I would still be critical and say he's late on Corruptors, guys, by about 2 minutes. I think with how much control he's had, Corruptors should have been there for the previous engagement, if not the one before that. And I'll stand by that. But right now, this is the best turtle map for TVZ Rainfall in the current pool, because they get 5 bases
I don't know where to attack on it.
in a really tight pattern. Guys, this is the pain you guys feel when you're playing Turtle Terran. I just want to remind you, Serral is one of us. Look at his face here. I'm going to rewind a few seconds as he just like absorbs the position he's in.
I don't like the idea of letting the pressure go, but I don't know, it's been like that. I don't know where to attack, honestly.
He doesn't like the idea of letting the pressure up, but he's not really sure where to attack. So he's kind of like, I don't want to throw units away. I think for most people, I would advise you just keep hammering. Army attacks top, army rotates, attacks bottom. Just keep doing that. Maybe drop 6 overlords of Zerglings in the main or something like that, which he's going to try and do now. He's going to send those to go start dropping the main. You know, just keep throwing units at them is usually going to be the best thing for most players. Serral is one of the few players, though, who's technical enough to actually swap into a defensive kind of stance here. Creep surrounding his opponent, and he's going to wait for the Terran to, like, step out a little bit. And once Terran unsieges a few units, spreads his units a little bit more, trying to deny one of these bases, that's when Serral's going to pounce. So his army split on both sides, and he is waiting for the Terran to make a crucial mistake. And you can see the moment he pokes forward, Fungal's waiting, but Serral eats a big EMP. He gets a bunch of bio, but he eats a big EMP. He's got to be careful. A lot of firepower there for Terran now.
If we get some of those.
But now the Terran feels the pressure. Look at this, guys. Terran feels the pressure. He sees this base mining. The other base is mining as well. Every second, right now, Serral is mining about 1,500 minerals and about 500 gas off of these 2 bases. And that is direct damage to the Terran in the long term. Oh, huge fungal. And the Terran can't even deny the creep without throwing units away. Serral's feeling great. He's feeling really good.
Maybe if I focus my attention on this side, it should be pretty good.
He's gonna focus his attention on the right side. He's gonna pivot. He's like, hey, there's not many units on the right, so he's gonna put just a small defensive force on the left. He'll give up that base if he has to, but if he can blow this base up, he knows it'll be worth. Snipes actually land on the Corruptors, but that means they're not used on the Ultras. That could be a big mistake for the Terran player. Planetary goes up. I'd love to see him click that orbital. That orbital was very exposed, and that's one thing a lot of players just don't realize how valuable those orbitals are for Terran. Ooh, there's a few Corruptors, a little sloppy. So let me just hide my camera for a second, guys. You'll notice
still mining from this base, so it shouldn't be too bad. Probably start working on this gas as well. Yeah,
he should be mining that gas. Main army on 1, Infestors 2, second army 4, and then he's got his Corruptors over on 8, which is probably a custom control group. He's probably not actually reaching to number 8 on his keyboard. He might have that on like W or caps lock, or maybe the tilde key to the left of number 1, something like that.
Actually, I'm just gonna transfer these mineral miners already here. Feels like I'm just losing them.
He's gonna not throw the drones away. He'll give up the base for now, but he knows that means the Terran's kind of overextended. And he can drop it a few biles, gets one of those libs. He was gonna go into the Corruptors to snipe. The reason he didn't is he got scanned, and he knew the Ghost would snipe his Corruptors if they go in there. But remember, with the modern Ghost, it only has 2 snipes. It runs out of energy really quickly. Unless the opponent has like 20 plus Ghosts, they just don't have that as many snipes. Oops. So he's going to transfer back, and these other bases are much safer. He can always mine those out later. And the thing is, the Terran still isn't mining that base, so he could still retake that. And now the Terran has to try and deny the top right. But if the Terran tries to take the left side and go to the top right, look at how much more spread he is on the minimap. This is classic Zerg play, just played at a more patient late game level than anyone else can really pull off. I'm going to wait for you to stretch out. Let the economic pressure force you into a bad move. Lingvane Ultra Infestor goes forward. I love the way he spreads the Zerglings onto the tanks and then pulls back. Great discipline on the pullback.
Great, but...
Now, he still has 3 Ravagers. I'm a big believer, guys. You have to throw your Ravagers away at this stage. That is 9 supply of units that he has to actively micro to kill a single Liberator.
It's risky if there's like...
Instead, he could have almost 5 Corruptors extra for that. It's very sloppy.
I mean, I'm still mining this space, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Chat's pointed out he's just lost his first Infestor, guys. He's down to 4 Infestors now after about 10 engagements.
I wonder if this middle has some weakness.
And notice he's using the changelings. He's looking for openings. He thinks the middle might be a bit more vulnerable.
Seems like his weakest link so far.
So that seems like his weakest area. Often when the Terran focuses all their defenses on these extreme flanks, the middle opens up, and actually going towards their natural production rally is really powerful. In this case, it's going to be harder, though, because that low ground base to the north kind of covers this base from the low ground. Like, tanks reach both bases at the same time.
More gases here.
13,000 minerals, 4,000 gas. Most Zerg player logic is go trade, go trade, go trade.
A lot of resources on my bases.
Go trade, go trade, go trade. For Serral, it's find an efficient trade.
He's going pretty good here.
I think for most of us, our standard logic is still the best logic. But there are times where we chuck a Zerg. We keep throwing our army into bad spots. And I think we should take at least a bit of inspiration from Serral. I still think it's good when you're ahead to smother the opponent and take inefficient trades and overwhelm them. But the patience shown by Serral, it really is inspirational. Okay, he's going to go forward. He's going to go for some abducts, trying to pull those back. But he's going to get his Viper sniped, I think. Oh no, he gets out of range. And transfuses the Corruptor as well. That's efficiency. That is efficiency. Obviously, for Serral, he very rarely tries to just win with tempo. He tries to always win off efficient fights. So he has more practice in these games than anyone else as well. If you do play this style all the time, you'll get more of a feel for it. Let me simplify
my control groups a little bit, so I can use like 3 at this point on. So
he's trying to fix his control groups up a bit.
To play and less likely for me to fuck it up.
That's crazy. That is, you guys caught that, right? He just said, we're going to fix my control groups, make it easier for me to play, make it simpler so there's less chances of me making mistakes. How crazy is that, guys? Do you know what he did? He's gone, because this is what I would do in this scenario, and I'm always surprised that Serral does it. He's gone, he's taken, his main army is just really big. He's still got the secondary force defending the right side, but he's actually put Corruptor Viper on number 2. Infestors used to be on this key. And this is exactly what I do. It's a reprioritization. Previously, Infestors, Microbial Shroud was really important. Now, the Microbial attacks have fallen off. They're not as important anymore, are they? Because there's so many EMPs able to land, there's snipes on the Ultras. Ultras in the front aren't that important. He's only got 2 Ultras in his army now that he just left over. It's mostly Ling, Bane, Viper, Corruptor, because there's so many ghosts, and Ultras aren't good against those ghosts, right? So instead he said, well, I want the Viper Corruptor to dart and deal with all these Liberators. The Infestors, they just got added to the main army key. So he's made this easier for himself, and he's just said, we've basically got 2 groups that are 90% of my focus. And you can see he's doubled up. The Corruptor Viper is still on this number 8, but they're not. He's not going to use that anymore. He's going to use number 2, the control group he's better at, and he's just going to have this little Ling Bane defense squad in the top right. So he's really streamlining, so he can just focus on finding the most decisive engagements with the simplest army. I love this.
They're also pretty high on supply. This was actually 9 supply in those 3 Ravagers.
Our forces are under attack. Forces are under attack.
I mean, if I just win this base, it's game over anyway, so... He's not really trying to win, it feels like, even.
Yeah. Serral's like, well, I have the...
See myself losing.
He's basically... It's like having all the relics in Age of Empires, or he's got a wonder. He's like, as long as the Terran doesn't deny the top right, I can't lose. He's like, he knows that he's never going to fall below a certain level of efficiency with how he plays StarCraft. There's not a fear of, oh no,
now on this side, no?
What if he gets the ultimate late game army? It's, hey, if he doesn't...
punch through this space, but unfortunately I don't know how big his army is there. So.
And remember, you can trade less efficiently.
Exactly how many units he has there now, I could actually do.
Because look at the minimap. Terran spends so much money on orbitals, turrets, planetaries. They spend so much money on that. That even if they trade 20,000 resources better than Serral, if he mines an extra base that gives him 15,000 more resources, he'll still win the game. Because look at the Zerg minimap. Its creep tumors are free and the hatcheries are cheap. There's not that many spores or spines. He's got map control, whereas the Terran is just building tens of thousands extra resources into their infrastructure.
Our forces are under attack.
Why not make a ton of macro hatcheries at this point? Because he's already got about 10 hatcheries.
I just don't think I can lose if he lets me mine his base.
And he's got an immense amount of lava. Here. I don't know if he's been injecting still, but knowing Serral, yeah, he's still injecting.
I'm mining a key base here.
So he already has like 100 lava available. So the win condition here is going to be running the map out of resources. And because it's a very slow pace, it's not a game where he's running out of lava.
Sending it by the looks of things. My army is pretty cheap as well, so that's a good thing about it.
Swap back to the other camera spot.
I have like a lot of minerals still. I have a lot of mineral units, I mean.
The hive cluster is under attack.
It's like a lot of lings. I'm not like full on banelings even, so.
Yeah, a lot of Zerglings. Zerglings can find great efficiency because you've got such a big mineral bank. Any Zergling efficiency you can find here feels really good because they're such a cheap unit to produce. His units kind of need to make sure they come in from multiple sides. He's got to be careful about where those ramps are. A lot of the time I see Zerg players spread their army out, but then they kind of... There's a ramp in front of them. So you can do the biggest spread in the world, but if there's a ramp between you and the opponent, all the units are going to have to clump up to go through the ramp anyway. You need to make sure the units are spread around so they take a different ramp, if that makes sense. So this is something where you can see he adapted some of his units to do that. Oh my god, look at that! He just yoinks a tank over. Nicely done. A few SCVs are going to come in. The Zerglings will deal with that. He's waiting for the Terran to come into the open. He's like, come on, step into my trap. I feel like right now he's one of these like Venus flytrap type plants. And he's just got this like big bead of delicious sweet sap. And the Terran wasp is just inching its way closer. And he's like, ooh, something smells good over here. That's this top right base. And Serral's just friggin' waiting. And he's got that bead of sweet sap there, trying to bait him in. And he's just waiting for this Terran to take the bite. And the Terran is so cautious. He's like, oh, I don't know about going up that ramp.
It's taking so long.
And Serral's annoyed because he's like, I want to win the game. I want to make a play. But he's like, he can't not make a suboptimal play because he's Serral. So he's making the most correct play. Look at that. Abducts a tank, just a few Zerglings. No, he doesn't pull his whole army, just a couple of Zerglings and a Viper. He's just going to keep picking these units off cost efficiently until the Terran pulls the trigger, and then he'll go. And he's like, come on, man, make a play, make a play, make a play, Terran player, make a play. Terran player, trying to creep turrets forward, trying to be very patient. But another Liberator bites the dust. And Serral's going to go. Is he? He's waiting, he's waiting. He's going to roll a few Banes forward. Terran's being very patient. Every second that goes by, this base gets more mined out. He's going to go. Serral loses patience. Finally, it goes for it. The Banelings trying to get towards those ghosts on the left side. The ghosts are spending all their time running rather than fighting. Microbial Shrouds all over everything. It's not the sort of engagement that Serral's known for. It's not that pretty, but it's effective. When you've waited this long, he's going to remax on Zerglings because they are the fastest unit to remax. And he's still got Infestors alive. Still threatening the Fungals. If those ghosts come too close... Says, oh yeah, that's pretty good for him. Okay, threw away a few units.
I like to remake it here just because it's usually what ends up happening is that skill it infinitely, so I'll just long distance mine what I can.
Yeah, he's gonna long distance mine so they don't get free hatchery kills. It's so common. You rebuild, they shoot it. There's a tank in range.
Bad of a trade. I didn't
you just keep throwing away. Said it wasn't too bad of a trade anyway. I still think rotating to the left might have been nice after this. The habit, that's what I would have tried to go for, but he's still like, nah. I know you're going to try and secure this yourself and deny it for me. And this is where you're going to step into the open. For me, I always want to catch them out of position on the other side of the map. But Serral here, he's just trying to lure the Terran a little bit further out of his shell.
Push their left side base instead of taking that fight.
Yeah, there's not much money in the top right. So I think the rally to the left is better. Serral's thinking the same. And it's funny because he knows he's so far ahead in this game, and you can tell there's like part of him that's like... Mineral field depleted. And it's so funny because people often watch Serral and they think he's like enjoying the slow-paced game. He hates these sort of turtle games. The only thing he hates more than playing a very slow turtle game where he's kind of just sitting there and waiting for the opponent to make mistakes.
That was an expensive fight on the other hand.
Is he hates taking bad fights. And even there, he kind of doesn't like how many units he wasted to kill a base that was out of resources.
Workers at this point. I'm gonna go to Pro Lords anyway.
He hates taking terrible fights. It's ingrained in his blood that even here when he gets really frustrated, he takes one or two engagements that are just a tiny bit sloppy. He's like, you can tell his ability to contend with just a certain amount of frustration and just sloppiness in his engagements. His tolerance bar is running low after two what I would call slightly suboptimal engagements. They were imperfect. They weren't bad by any... Most players would consider those good.
Pointless nowadays that they don't even cancel the snipe anymore. I mean, I guess it's good to have a couple, but it's not like that great.
Wait, did you say Infestors are not no point because they can't interrupt snipe?
Infestors are kind of pointless nowadays that they don't even cancel the snipe anymore. I mean,
it's not as game-ending as it used to be. Yeah, I agree.
It's not like that great.
Sorry for those watching live. If you got an ad break, my bad.
Twitch
just derped. That was not meant to play. Dude, that's so many Corruptors. He knows there's so many Liberators. So whenever he engages, he's going to be sniping those libs down so fast. But is it just me, guys, or does Serral have no Vipers anymore? Oh, no, he's still got at least one or two. I think he's just built some new ones. Gonna clear some turrets. Zerglings are only minerals, turrets are only minerals. Trading them for each other is fine. Ooh, and now Terran's gonna push.
Play by him. He's gonna deny that one base, so maybe in hopes of getting it himself.
So he's thinking, Terran is thinking of taking this middle base himself.
I have so many Corruptors now that my army is actually quite weak because I want to go Pro Lords, but I'm just gonna use them to actually...
Yeah, Serral is planning to go
army
Broods, but there's mass Thor here, so this would not have been a good Brood swap.
Pretty fast here.
Oh my god, that's so many Terran tanks, Thor's ghosts, but no Hellbats. Nothing to deal with the Zerglings. Oh my god, did all the ghosts just die, or did he pick them up with the Metavacs? Corruptors are going to take out a bunch of libs there. Serral's going to have to remax. crazy fight there.
I don't think he has a push here. He lost out his ghost.
I think he killed all the ghosts, guys. I think Terran messed up the micro. He should have just pre-spread the ghost. We see a lot of Terran players not pre-spreading their ghosts. They always try to just run them away in a clump, and that can be good, but it can also be kind of awkward.
I'm also worried that I'm gonna cancel the...
Okay, he's gonna kill the planetary in the top right. It's a really nice move.
There, but...
Now he can send Zerglings to clean it up. Planetary wrecks Zerglings once the planetary's gone.
Definitely his idea is to get like the little money he has. Like just a tiny bit of money from this base.
Yeah, the Terran wants to steal that tiny bit of money in the middle base.
Here pretty soon, though.
Serral's thinking broods are where the efficiency lies. Did he kill enough Thors in that last engagement, though, to make it worth it? Thor-Lib Ghost is normally very efficient against broods, but I think the lack of Hellbats in the Terran army is worrying me. I think the Terran should have a few Blue Flame Hellbats mixed in. You can see a few more building there. Unfortunately for Terran, Hellbats do not one-shot Zerglings anymore. It used to be that a +3 Blue Flame Hellbat would one-shot a Zergling. These days, they leave them at 1 hit points. This was a change 4 years ago? 3 years ago? I don't know. Sometime in the last 5 years, they changed that. And it did make late-game mech not as good against the Zergling. And just late-game, end-game Terran. In general, it made the Zerglings much more viable.
Crueler angle here.
Serral's still with an absolutely insane bank, guys. And yeah, where me, I would just max smash into the army, remax do it again, remax do it again. And I think that would... I think I would win from here if I was in Serral's shoes.
Really bad for me.
Serral is not willing to gamble on that. He's not sure the enemy resources.
Actually, it's not a bad
He's not willing. And this is like this weird thing where it's... Did anyone watch the World Cup?
Besides for me having way too many...
Serral is Spain right now. The Terran player is Argentina. He's not had a single shot on goal. It's almost the night, like we're at like 85 minutes. There's not been a shot on goal for the Terran, but Serral refuses to give up possession of the ball, and he doesn't want to take any risky chances. He's such a careful player. He's a possession-based Zerg, guys. He really is. His whole plan is to just hold the ball and wait for opportunities to present itself. Oh my god, I love that. Ultra pops out of the Nidus, kills the Hellbats. Now, Broodlords are really interesting these days, guys. He doesn't have enough to one-shot a Thor. You actually, I think he's shy. Well, actually, he might just barely. Because he's got 18, I think, because there's a few overseers on that hockey. I think you need at 20, about 20 Broodlords should one-shot a Thor. Because Thor has 400 hit points. Broodlords do 26 damage at +3. Thors have, I think, 4 armor at +3. So you're doing 22 times 20 should do the 400 hit points of damage. So often, if you want to fight Thors head-to-head, that's going to be keep in mind. If the Terran has siege tanks, he'll just kill his own units with friendly fire. There's quite a few ultras in the mix. Probably more than I would have expected from Serral at this point. But I think he figures it's going to be hard for Terran to have enough ghosts to actually deal with so much brood and ultra. There's not that many ghosts. It's mostly Thor, Hellbat, and Lib. Serral's holding the ball in the corner and watching the Terran try to get it, says Burning. Dude, it's so weird because, like, there are so many... you know, Serral it's beautiful to watch if you appreciate the perfect way of playing the game. And it's, like, frustrating if you miss the days of, like... the, I don't know, 1990s Brazilian team running around just doing crazy stuff all day. You're like, no, bring back the crazy stylish play.
I'm not sure if he's relaxing out or why is he doing, but
as a lover of StarCraft, you have to appreciate just how bloody perfect it is, and how he just like puts his opponent in a position where they have to make a big mistake if they want to make any play at all. And if they don't make that play, he's just going to completely shut them down. Terran's been sitting in his corner for the last 30 minutes. And Serral's just going to chip at him. Nice Broodlord micro. Really good Broodlord micro. The tanks are terrible for Terran now. You should not be using siege tanks in this army. They are the worst. They're actually the best Zerg unit right now is the siege tank. This Terran's making the exact same mistake that Clem made against Serral in Home Story Cup finals. This is a terrible mistake for the Terran. He's got to get his tanks out of here. He's doing more damage to his own units than Serral is. This is crazy, man. This is crazy! Oh my gosh! You got to get those tanks out of there, guys. Late game, you want to use Liberators to zone out Infestors. You want Hellbat, Ghost, Thor against the Broods. The tanks are doing big friendly fire on those. Whenever they shoot the Broodlings, they kill the units that are next. The Broodlings themselves do almost no damage. Serral's looking for some Neurals. One of the Ghosts gets a snipe off on the full energy Infestor, but all the Thors are gone now. The way Serral stacks all of his Broodlords, so he's only fighting one or two units at a time.
Was he maxed out there? I don't think he was maxed out there.
Was he maxed out?
Really low supply. I don't know, he was actually pretty high.
30,000 resource bank difference, but look at that.
Bad.
It's a bad army for Terran. There's 11 siege tanks that are useless once Broodlords come out. You do not want tank siege. The only time they're good against Broodlords is if the Zerg's dumb enough to send the rest of his ground army in, and then your tanks can shift-click Infestors, Hydras, Ultras, units that aren't the Broodlings so that they're not doing friendly fire. But Serral was very technical. If you go forward with their units, he can Parabomb, he can Abduct, he can Blinding Cloud the Thors if they come too far forward. He's got Infestors darting in and out looking for Neurals, and the Broodlords just move back and forwards and keep throwing those waves, looking to try and do the damage. But this is kind of shocking to me because this is the second time I've seen Serral in uber late game in the last few weeks where a Terran has forgotten that mass siege tank is really bad in endgame. Now, to be fair, Terran was broke, didn't even have a maxed army. He was super dead by this point. This is why we call him the Sandpaper Zerg. It's because Serral will be so far ahead, and rather than just picking up his wood axe and splitting his opponent in half, he'll get his sandpaper out, and he'll slowly grind them to dust over the next 3 weeks. Some would say it's infuriating to watch, but I would say it's also technically perfect. I agree it's not the most exciting version of StarCraft, but Serral is basically hedging his bets. Every single time, he's like, I'm going to make this a 0% chance that I lose from here. And it's his... Where most Zergs are over-eager. We throw our armies away. Serral is just like... He is patience personified. He is allergic to bad engagements. And I'm not saying we should play like him, but we should probably sometimes... in a game where we're being overeager and we're throwing units away, just have that little bit more patience and go, let's prioritize efficient fights rather than winning the game as quickly as possible.
That went pretty well. I mean, he didn't really have any chance in this. I could have won that game with any unit comp because I was so much ahead in money.
Yes.
I don't think you can give up that much of the map.
Serral confirmed smurfing, guys! Only 3,600 MMR! Oh my god, what a loser! Just kidding, guys. He tabs out so quickly when the game ends that the number normally counts up to his actual MMR, and then the screen just freezes. And you always get frozen on some screen where his MMR is frozen. But he's tabbed back in, he's queued again. And what a fantastic game that was, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Obviously, I think for some people it's kind of painful to watch. For some people, they love it. I think it's interesting because it is... his early late game, it's engage, never step out of a microbial. Just throw the microbials, kill a planetary, kill whatever's there. Once the microbial chain is exhausted or his front ultras are gone, he pulls back. And he does it again, and he does it again, and he just keeps on doing that. And then he gets to the point where there's like tons of ghosts out, and he's like, okay, I'm going to be a little more cautious. I'm going to mine your bases out. And if you're just sitting in the most perfectly covered defensive setup, which I think on a map where the bases are more spread, Serral would have been more aggressive and he would have kept attacking. But because Rainfall has such a compact 5-base setup, he just kind of said, I'm just going to mine your corners out and wait for you to overextend, build such an economy advantage that over time I can pick at you, eventually use Broodlords to chip at you as well. I think Serral's so good at that late game army. I cannot wait to see him in that late game scenario on Rainfall against Maru. I don't know if we'll ever see it this patch, but I really think that is the peak thing to actually study who wins late game at the moment. My feeling is that if the Terran can slow the game down enough without letting the Zerg steal their bases, Terran might be able to win. But I think it will take a Maru level player in terms of late game efficiency and patience to do it, because the ghost energy efficiency sucks. The supply efficiency sucks for the ghosts. So at the moment, there's like this theoretical point where because snipes can't get interrupted, I feel like the very best Terrans should be able to take such efficient trades where Broodlords shouldn't work, because Fungal does not interrupt snipe. Hitting the ghost does not interrupt snipe anymore. I think there's this theoretical scenario, but will anyone even be brave enough to do it against Serral? I'm not sure. I think it's so rare that a player plays late game and is willing to play it against Serral because he's so good there, and gets to there in a competitive enough situation and has the skill to actually execute. So Serral gets this aura of like being unbeatable in late game ZVP and ZVT. Yet I think if you asked him, he would probably say privately, oh, I think Terran and Protoss are favored in endgame. I just often get ahead and like don't let them get to the perfect situation and deny bases and keep them off balance all game. I think he would probably say something like that, but I really do hope we get to see that Maru matchup. I think it'd be really interesting to play it out. I think Terran needs to like be very slow though, because the Ghosts of 3 supply, they cost 75 energy a snipe. You've got to like very much space the game out. It's not a tempo late game at all. And I don't know if we'll get to see it. For now, Serral remains the god of Zerg efficiency. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. And I know we've done a few point of views lately, so I'll try to only prioritize any banger matches if we get some new Serral streams in the next week or two. And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye and good night. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.